This episode is brought to you by Complete Auto Service Center. I want to share something close to home, literally. If you're anywhere near Richmond, Missouri, and your vehicle needs attention, there's a place that embodies trust and integrity. Complete Auto Service Center. I've known Mark and Amanda for years, and they make me feel like I'm part of their family. From oil changes to engine replacements, brakes to transmissions, they handle it all with professionalism and care. Their certified techs use quality parts, and they stand behind their work with a 36-month, 36,000-mile warranty. But it's more than just repairs. It's about peace of mind. It's about knowing that your vehicle is in the hands of people who value honesty and excellence. So, if you're seeking a reliable partner for your automotive needs, visit CompleteASC.com or stop by 718 Woolard Boulevard. Let them earn your trust, your business, and your friendship. Complete Auto Service Center. Complete maintenance, complete repairs, complete peace of mind. This episode is brought to you by Cutting Edge Landscapes. I've known Brandon Steffen, the owner of Cutting Edge Landscapes, for over 15 years. We've seen each other through a lot, climbed mountains together, served together, and when it came time to trust someone with my lawn, there was no question. I turned to Brandon and his team. Let me tell you, the difference after just one application was truly incredible. My yard went from weedy and full of dandelions to lush and vibrant. It was green, like really green. Also, I fought the bag system for years, never really seeing the results I wanted, but it has new life now, and that's all thanks to Cutting Edge. Cutting Edge isn't just about landscape projects either. They're about building relationships and treating your property like it's their own. Whether it's fertilization, aeration, or seasonal treatments, they tailor their services to what your lawn truly needs. With over 40 years in the business, Cutting Edge Landscape stands by their motto, "Your property is our passion." And after seeing the results firsthand, I can vouch for that. Visit callcuttingedge.com or 816-580-3343 to schedule your consultation. Your lawn will thank you. This is the son of the... I'm going to give it a little bit of space before I start it.
Okay.
This is the Son of the Law podcast. Hey everyone, welcome. Welcome to the Son of the Law podcast. I'm your host, Jay Christopher. Before we get started here, I want to thank our sponsors. Couldn't do it without you guys. Complete Auto Service in Richmond, Missouri. Cutting Edge Landscapes in Lawson, Missouri. Mark and Amanda, you're great. Brandon Steffen, you're great. I've really enjoyed working with you guys, and I'm happy to play your advertisements. All right, and also want to thank you, listeners, for supporting the show. Please talk about us with your friends. Maybe share the show across all platforms. As you know, we're on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. If you have another podcast player, sometimes I understand my parents actually listen to the show on the interwebs. So, never know where they're going to be. Love you, Mom. And let's see. I'm also trying to engage thought-provoking questions and conversations. So if I'm asking stuff on here and talking with guests and you have something that you think is interesting, talk about it with your friends and then maybe drop me some feedback. Encourage people to follow the show, turn those notifications on, and make sure you're ready for the next episode. All right, joining me in my home studio this morning is Mark Matney. Hey, Mark.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm so great, man. I'm so glad to have you here.
Good.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I want to introduce you as the fireworks guy. You're the fireworks guy, right?
Yeah, I'm the fireworks guy.
You are so much more than that, and you're not just the fireworks guy. What is your fireworks company name?
It's Awesome Fireworks.
Awesome Fireworks. Okay, so at one point in time, did you have like Same Old Folks Fireworks or something like that?
We just said in our advertising or in our sign, we just put on there, it's the same old folks.
Same old folks doing
Same old folks doing it every year.
Okay.
So,
well,
yeah.
I love it. We've been buying fireworks for you guys for years. Literally, I have great memories of taking my kids up and getting the box and walking around the table, and very little's
Awesome.
changed, and it's just
Awesome.
it's just so great, just awesome memories. And I thought you'd be an awesome person to talk with, particularly this time of year.
Well, thank you.
Haven't made my way up there to buy my box yet, but when this episode drops, it'll be a few days before 4th of July. And so maybe it'll encourage folks to come see you.
Absolutely.
Okay. So just try to introduce you. Some things that I think are unique about you are maybe kind of the way I got to know who you were. And I'm kind of dense sometimes. And I knew you from the gym before I knew you anywhere, right? You were always in the gym kind of around when my kids were playing. And so I kind of saw you as the guy in the gym that's nice to everybody. You talk a lot.
Yeah, I do that. Yes, I do.
You have great stories. You know, like everybody, it seems, between here and there, you're always greeting somebody or shaking a hand or kissing a baby or whatever. And that's how I kind of got to know you. You are super encouraging. You have a great attitude, and you're like very generous. And I've gotten to know you through my son, Christopher, and some of the work he's done with Awesome Fireworks and whatnot. So it's just really been a pleasure to get to know you and have you on the show.
Thank you.
I did also, and people have already can tell it, right? You've got this like super memorable voice. It's almost like, do you sing country music?
No, but I've had a lot of people, say I should be on the radio.
We got to get you there, man. Well, maybe this is the introduction. Maybe we do an Awesome Fireworks podcast next year.
Okay.
Get everybody ready. And
there you
promote
go.
Promote your fireworks show.
All right.
Let's see. But then also, like I said about Christopher, he adores you. My family loves you for all the aforementioned reason. You, your lovely wife, extended family in the area.
Thank you.
For those reasons. And I asked him, I said, hey, Mark's coming over. What should we talk about? And I got a few things here where they recommend.
This will be interesting.
Yeah. They're like, you got to talk to him about basketball. He played basketball a lot. He says, I think they got a championship in there. I think he did some coaching and everything like that. So I love talking about that sort of stuff. If you listen long, they said said, do you know he almost died like twice?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've had a couple close calls. It's the good Lord just wasn't ready yet. I guess
Right?
I don't know, but yeah.
So as you're comfortable sharing maybe those experiences, I'd love to dig in there a little bit. Had a pretty significant back injury last year.
Yeah, I fell off the ladder, the day that the tent was coming, and fractured the T12 vertebrae in my back. But I was very fortunate. It didn't displace, and I didn't have to have any surgery. I had to wear that big heavy brace for 3 months.
That's what I remember. It did not look comfortable.
It was not in the summer.
Yeah. Paul said, talk to him about running with his friends. He said you talked a lot about life with your friends, running when you were a kid.
Well, of course, I was very active.
Mm-hmm.
I played sports, all the sports.
Mm-hmm.
Was fortunate enough to have enough God-given talent that I was able to get my college paid for by playing basketball in college at Warrensburg.
Okay.
Well, back then it was CMSU. Now it's UCM.
It will always be CMSU in my mind.
When I started there, it was CMSC.
College.
Central Missouri State College. And then the next year they became a university, my second year. Yeah.
Okay.
So
back in the day.
Yes. Yes. That was back in, I graduated from high school in 1969. So I played basketball down there from 1969 to 1973.
Okay. Very good. Are you comfortable sharing a little bit about your near-death experiences?
Well, I've had,
what happened?
I guess the first one was when I was at school. I taught and coached for, years, for 30 plus years. I guess the first one I had was back in 98. I was only 47 when I had a heart attack. I was at the high school.
Really?
Yes. And
where were you?
At Liberty.
Liberty. You taught in Liberty.
Last 25 years I taught at Liberty. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was one of those that just thought it was bad indigestion, and it kept getting worse and worse as the day went on. And finally, toward the end of the day, I went up to the nurse's office. One of my students came down to the room, and he said, "Mr. Matney, you don't look too good. You need to go see the nurse." And so I thought, you know what, you're probably right.
Yep.
And so anyway, I went
when
up
a kid pays attention to you, and they say something's up, then you know, so you probably ought to take a look.
Yeah. So anyway, I ended up, of course, went down to the nurse's office, and my blood pressure was like 220 over 180, or so. They rushed me to the hospital, and I had 98% blockage in the main artery.
Oh my gosh!
So, but they were able to put stents in, and so that was the first time.
So they didn't open you up or anything?
No,
Okay.
that wasn't later on.
Yeah.
Right after I retired from teaching in 2011. I had enough blockage that they couldn't stent
do
me
it anymore.
so they did a quadruple bypass.
My goodness.
So that was one of those situations where I was having problems, and in fact hurting so bad a couple times that I'm probably lucky that I didn't, blow a cork then, But anyway, but I made it, and then COVID almost got me.
Really?
Yeah, back in 2020, I had it really bad. I had it 10 days. It was the mildest flu I ever had, and then when it attacked me.
Just came full force.
Almost didn't get to the hospital. Luckily, we only live about 10 minutes from Liberty Hospital.
Yeah.
If I lived any further away, I'd never made it.
Just your O2 drop?
My blood oxygen drop went from 93 to 67 in 10 minutes.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I don't remember when we got to the hospital, but that's what they tell me. But
my goodness.
Then I spent 45 days in the hospital, 20 of it in ICU. So that was really close.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, my lung doctor, when we were all done, I asked her what she thought my chances were when she first saw me. And she said, maybe 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
What a crazy time. And kind of regardless how you feel about that. Just being in there and whatnot. There's nobody arguing with those symptoms.
Oh yeah, it was serious.
Yeah.
But I made it, you know, and
how did they treat you?
Well, they for one thing, by the time I went in, I of course, in 2020 is, of course, the year of the COVID. By the time I got it, it was after the fireworks season. It was August 18th is when I actually, is the day that I reacted.
Yeah.
And they were doing everything they could to keep me off the ventilator. Because by then they were figuring out the ventilator wasn't
working.
And so they did. And fortunately, on the 10th day I was in there, the head doctor at Liberty Hospital came in and said, if your blood oxygen gets in lower, we've got to ventilate.
Really?
But that night they took my blood and it came up just a little bit. And from then on, it was
just slow
process,
climb back out.
Yeah. I was on oxygen for about 6 months total.
How about that?
But I finally got off all of it, and so
here you are.
Here I am. So
that's incredible.
Yeah,
that's incredible. Yeah, and then you broke your back. I mean, so that was some of these things are. I've noticed it's kind of a trend around the fireworks stand.
yeah. It's of course, I was on a ladder. Of course, I'm not allowed to be on a ladder anymore. You know, I'm in trouble with my neighbors and my wife and everybody if I get on the ladder. So
I spent some time in the building management world and around OSHA considerations and whatnot. Did you know that almost the main source of workplace hazards is slips, trips, and falls? Ladder safety.
Yeah, I don't
all
doubt
kinds
it.
of stuff like that.
I don't doubt it. I've been up and down a ladder. I grew up. My dad was a building contractor. I grew up construction and working on the job, and I've been up and down ladders my whole life, but not anymore.
Yeah. I guess it only takes once.
That last time down was enough. I'm good.
Well, now you just send a kid up there.
Yes, that's what I have to do. Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome. So you didn't necessarily. Where did you grow up? And actually,
I
we kind of jumped right into our conversation here. I'd like to introduce you, and then I like to give people an opportunity to introduce themselves. Maybe
sure.
Can you just jump right in and maybe introduce yourself a little bit?
Okay, I'll tell you. I grew up. I'm a native Kansan. I'm a Jayhawk, but I've lived most of my adult life in Missouri. I grew up over on the Kansas side of town in Turner. And went to high school there, met my wife there. We dated, and of course, we just celebrated our 54th wedding anniversary.
54 years. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
And what an amazing example you are. I don't know many people who've been married that long. I see you're having a little emotional here.
Yeah.
You know? That's amazing.
Yeah. But anyway, I went to college in Warrensburg. And then from there, I taught and coached for 5 years up in Iowa. That was my first job. And then I went back to Turner.
Basketball?
Basketball and baseball and a little bit of football.
And coaching high school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I went back to Turner where I graduated and was a coach there for 3 years, and then went to Liberty and was at Liberty the last 25. I coached. I didn't coach the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, I guess.
Yeah.
I retired from the coaching part of it there at the end.
What'd you teach?
I taught math and driver's ed. And then the last half of my career, I taught auto mechanics.
That's awesome.
Which is, I know that, you don't put the two and two together, but I had a background in auto mechanics, always worked on my own stuff. And so they needed when I was at Liberty, the auto mechanics teacher retired and they couldn't find anybody.
Yeah, and that's the way I'm noticing, and nobody knows how to work on their own cars.
Right.
And you're kind of playing right into my hand here.
Yeah.
Complete Auto Service in Richmond, Missouri. Mark and Amanda, I'm telling you, they don't care. They do work on them, and they help
That's
you.
awesome.
Which is great, right? If you can find somebody you trust, go do that.
Yeah.
But back in the day, people used to work on their own cars, and that skill is just going away.
I grew up. My uncle was a mechanic, and he taught me a lot. And then I just always worked on my own stuff. And in college, I had a chance to take some classes, some electives.
Yep.
And so, of course, I jumped right after, on that.
It's like free.
Yes, absolutely. So
underwater basket weaving.
There you go. So anyway, but that's how I got started. And then when the teacher at Liberty retired, everybody at the high school knew that, because they'd always, when they'd have a car question, they'd come see me.
Yeah.
And so they said, "Hey, how would you like teaching auto mechanics?" And I said, "Well, I think that'd be kind of fun to do." So last 15 years, that's what I taught.
I wouldn't imagine you got too involved with the repairs and stuff, right? I mean, you weren't pulling engines completely apart, were you? Or were you just oil and filter changes?
We did a little some of that.
Did you really?
We did a little bit of everything.
Wow.
It was, we tore engines apart and rebuilt engines and did the whole 9 yards.
That's awesome. I have not gotten to that level of comfort yet. I tore the intake manifold off of a 4.6 liter V8 last winter.
Okay.
And like the whole top of the motor has to come off basically.
Right.
Before you get down in there. And I had parts and pieces all over the thing. It's a wonder the whole thing went back together.
Did it run?
I got it back together.
All right.
Got it back together. Got it fixed.
That's the main thing.
Manifold was cracked, and I put a new one in, and I didn't crack it going back in. So it worked out. Okay, so coach, teaching, and then tell me about your wife. Tell me about your family, your ties to Lawson.
Okay, well, of course, like I said, we've been married a long time. We've got 3 kids.
Okay.
And they're awesome, and 10 grandkids,
10 grandbabies, man.
Which are the love of our lives.
I was gonna say, what a blessing. What a blessing.
But anyway.
And that's written all over you, right? I'll give you a chance to collect yourself. That was something I observed, again, before I knew you, right? We'd go up there, we'd buy fireworks and whatnot. It is clear from the moment you step in that tent that it's a family-run deal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All the grandkids have worked to stand.
Yep. It's family. Yep. It's friends. It's more than just a business, right? I mean, it's like almost like scheduled time together, and
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yes.
and that's
Yes.
that's really special,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
again just proving the point why we wanted to talk to you about it and
Well,
encourage
thank
folks
you.
to come see you. Yeah,
Well, and now, of course, we've got our Lawson family too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, all the
Yeah.
kids that have worked, the Akies are an example. The Akey boys, Todd
Yep.
and or Todd, Tyler and Taylor.
Yep.
You know, they grew up, working the stand. Of course, now they've got families, and
Right.
so kids like that. There's more than just those two. I mean, there's a bunch.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
and so we have our Lawson family,
Certainly.
and then 5 years ago, our daughter moved up here.
Right.
You know, just they lived in Liberty, and she wanted to get into a smaller school. Of course, we knew everybody up here. Or not everybody, but
Sure.
we knew a lot of people.
Sure.
And so she, jumped at the opportunity to come up. And the both boys who graduated from the high school. Of course, our granddaughters will be an 8th grader this year.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of ties to the community.
Yeah. No, it's great, and that's where, I was actually surprised when I started getting to know you that you didn't live here, because I saw you here so much.
Right.
You're
right.
burning gas, getting back and forth. And,
yes, coming to all the games, and the
yeah.
kids, these kids that work for me in the summer. Of course, they're all involved in sports, and so we try to come and see them as much as we can. And,
That's
so.
clear. That's clear. And Christopher has felt that. After the games, you're always there encouraging him and talking to him. Giving him the business.
Yep.
Jacking around. That's just great.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've blessed him with an opportunity to work with you, and that was something I wanted to talk about. Right? I mean, it's more than just a summer job, right? I mean, everybody wants to have a little walking around money, but
Right.
You're really investing in these kids.
Yeah.
You're talking with them about life and important
Oh,
things,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
you kind of treat them like one of your own. And,
Oh, absolutely. They're not. We don't treat them any different than our own grandkids.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. He's loved it, and it's really been a great opportunity.
Well, good. I'm glad he enjoys it. I enjoy having him. He's a good worker, and you can't have too many of them good workers.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was the deal too. Like, we're like, okay, very few jobs you can get before you're 16, and we're like, your likelihood of success here is not very good. So you need to walk up there and you need to shake a man's hand and say,
Yep.
I'm interested in working.
Yeah.
Kind of went through that whole process, and you
Yep.
took that very seriously. And
Yep.
you just,
and then I try to encourage them and my grandkids and all of them.
Sure.
That when we have customers, they need to greet them, talk to them, make sure they're there to help them, and that's learn to communicate. In this day and age, they all are on their phones and
sing.
and
Sing.
they need to be able to communicate with each other and with people.
Yeah. We were chatting with another guest recently about that. I mean, they're staring down at their phones, and it's weird. They won't look you in the eyes. They won't talk to you, and not everybody naturally,
Right.
but
There's
but
a lot.
You can tell the coached ones, and that's encouraging to see you doing that with your crew. What is something that people would be surprised to learn about you, as if you haven't already revealed a few things?
I don't know. I'm pretty much an open book. I talk to everybody, and in fact, the grandkids that give me said, Grandpa, what's your story going to be this year? You haven't almost died of COVID. You haven't fallen off a ladder and broken your back. What are you going to do? I said, well, it's been kind of a boring year, I guess.
Well, you can tell them you've been on a podcast.
There you go.
That's a good start.
There you go. That's a first. Yeah.
All right. Got a couple rapid fire questions for you here. No wrong answers unless you pick some of the wrong answers.
Okay.
Are you a creamy or crunchy peanut butter guy?
Creamy.
That's a wrong answer. What is your go-to cookout food? This time of year, people are celebrating, getting together with family. What's your go-to cookout food?
Golly.
What are you looking for when you go to the potluck?
I like it all. As you can see, as you can tell, I used to be a beef, the
hamburger,
or roast beef,
Yeah.
or barbecue or whatever. But I eat a lot more chicken these days than I
Okay.
used to. I didn't grow up eating a lot of chicken.
Okay.
But I eat as much chicken now as I do beef.
That's
And
awesome.
so I don't know, and I like brats and so like
Yep.
I'm just not sure there's a go-to.
I love it. I love it. Are you a night owl or an early riser?
I'm kind of both. I don't I don't go to bed very early, and I get up pretty early.
Hey,
of course
you can rest when you're dead, man.
At my age, it's not beyond me to be taking a nap in the middle of the afternoon. But unfortunately, at the fireworks stand, there's not much opportunity for that. So
Nope, not this time of year for sure. Dog or cat person?
Dog.
I thought so. That's the right answer, by the way.
Okay.
I don't know that I've had a cat person on yet, and I don't know what I'm going to do when I do.
Yeah, you'll get a kick out of this. You saying that, somebody asked me how it went to stand the other day. We were real busy, had a lot of the kids there working. I said, well, sometimes it's kind of like herding cats. I said, that's kind of what I feel like I'm doing.
Yeah.
And keeping them all, keeping them all busy doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yep.
But
you make it look easy. How about pizza or tacos?
Oh, tacos.
Tacos. What's an opinion that you have that's popular? Popular opinion. Something that you believe that everybody else believes.
Golly, I don't know. I believe in freedom,
America
and the freedom and less government.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great opinion right now.
Yeah,
that's actually one of my my more serious question, right? And this is the way I wrote it on my notes. You sell fireworks that ceremonially celebrate freedom from tyranny, cruel, and oppressive government rule. So what does freedom mean to you?
It just means to have the ability to make choices and do what you would like to do and not have somebody telling me what to do. And so we're very blessed in this country to have the freedoms that we have.
Indeed. So what role do fireworks and 4th of July celebrations play in reminding people about that freedom? Do you see like the people of Lawson intentionally buying fireworks to celebrate that, or is this just fun now? Or do you feel like we feel like we've lost touch with that as a culture?
It's probably some of both.
Okay.
I think there's still a lot of people, that understand why we're celebrating.
Sure.
That it's all about freedom. But I'm sure it's a party time too.
Oh, yeah.
And which is okay,
We're buying the big ones this year,
that's
boys.
That's right. Oh yeah. But I think for the most part, especially in Lawson and areas like this, people are rooted in the beliefs that we're very fortunate that this is a time to celebrate the sacrifices that people have made, for us to have our freedom.
Yeah, it's a time to feast, time to celebrate.
Yes,
let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah, the trying to segue here a little bit, but also because I didn't want to get too far away from it. And I'm not very good at like scripting things myself, and so I kind of look up some stuff. It says the tradition of celebrating 4th of July with fireworks stems from the very first Independence Day celebration in 1777. So 1 year after 1776, fireworks were used to mark the occasion with displays in both Philadelphia and Boston. This practice continues to be a significant part of the holiday's festivities, symbolizing the nation's birth and freedom from British rule.
That's awesome.
Right? I mean, that's
awesome. It's, I didn't, to be honest with you, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, we know we do it. And I mean,
Yes.
I'm thinking, I was kind of thinking if it would tie in, and I couldn't really find the ties, but the ties to the national anthem, right? The bombs bursting in air.
Right.
Would that be tied to it? And I couldn't find much that,
Yeah.
that brought those two together, but
Right.
definitely a celebration year after year. I mean,
Absolutely.
how other ways you make noise in New Year's with those loud kazoos and
Absolutely.
fireworks and
Yep.
people screaming. So
Yeah.
just another way of doing it.
Yeah.
So how did Awesome Fireworks first get started? And then how did your family ultimately just kind of become the fireworks folks around here?
Well, in the summers, I'm, of course, teaching. I had my summers off and always had a summer job because teaching, you don't get rich,
Yep.
not monetarily anyway.
Sure.
So I taught summer driver's ed. I had a lot of different jobs in the summer, but back in 1996, my next door neighbor had the fireworks business. He had a stand in Holt and a stand here in Lawson.
Okay.
And he'd been trying for 2 or 3 years to get me to take a stand, run a stand for him. And so in 96, I decided I would.
Okay.
And so that was actually his stand the first few years.
Okay.
That was before the Dolts owned the corner up there. Toby Dolt Construction owns the corner. And there was another lady that owned it. And so I ran the stand for him for 7 years.
Okay.
And then he passed away. And then so in 2003, I was able to get, when Toby Dolt bought the corner, I was able to keep the stand there, because I had coached Brandon Dolt and taught and had him. I was his algebra teacher and coached him in football.
You're locked in, man.
And so we had the connection, And of course, I went to Toby, and Toby said, "Sure, that'd be fine. You guys can, keep doing that." And then of course, after my neighbor had passed away, then we were able to just take over the business, and that was in 2003.
And you've been doing it ever since.
Ever since.
And it's 2025.
I know. I don't know where the years have gone.
That's a lot of years,
yes,
man.
it is.
And what a great legacy.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we've been on the corner 30 years up there now, and 23 of which it's been our stand.
I was going to say, I see the T-shirt
you're
wearing. It says,
this is the one that's 25. This was one from 5 years. We've got new shirts. Chris will be coming home with a shirt.
Okay.
We got new shirts. My daughter takes care of that stuff,
That's awesome.
And so she's got some 30-year shirts.
How about that?
And
so can you walk me through the process? And again, not revealing any trade secrets here or whatever, but I'm so impressed by a business like this because, and I think people would find it interesting, which is why I'm asking the questions. How do you effectively start, operate, run, close out, shut down, do it all, right? You guys can be open for a week before and after 4th of July, something like that?
It's June 20th to July 10th now.
Okay.
State of Missouri.
Okay. So you've got June 20th to July 10th, 20 some odd days, 21, 22 days to do your thing.
Right.
And you don't want to be starting all that research and starting all that buying.
Oh, no.
Right?
No. We start basically after the first of the year.
Yeah.
You get your licenses renewed and get all the paperwork taken care of.
Okay.
And then, of course, we go to the shows. We have one main supplier. I've bought from a couple different companies.
Okay.
But I have one main supplier. And they put on a big show that we go to either end of April or 1st of May, where we see the new stuff, all the new product and all that.
Yep. You're making notes and marking that down.
Absolutely. We take the whole family. It's a family affair. They all have to fill out sheets. And then, so the way we figure out what to add, any new stuff, it's got to be something everybody liked.
Okay.
So everybody has to fill out, all the grandkids,
it's
kids.
Family approved.
It's family. Yeah, it's right. And some of and not just, my grandkids, but we have the kids, the other kids that help us go too.
Yep.
And so anyway,
where did they do that show?
They do it out in Odessa, Missouri.
Oh, okay. So nearby.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah.
You're going to Vegas like you would for some telecommunications conference or whatever.
Right. But then after we see all the new stuff, then course, I base my order on what we sold the year before. You have to keep pretty accurate records,
Yeah.
and that way I know about what to order. I plan on selling what we sold the year before. Some years you sell more, you have to try to go back and get more product, which you can usually do. Well, luckily we're close enough we can do that. But then, after that show, I sit down and look at all the notes that everybody's put down. Then we get our order put together and do all that. And then at that point, then I start going to get the product, and I make trips out. I usually use my van. This year I used my cargo trailer and truck to get a couple loads, and then they delivered a load last week.
Yep.
But once we get it all priced. We used to when it wasn't near as big a business. Of course, our business has grown tremendously. We've been very fortunate. So we try to price everything ahead of time, so that, because if we used to wait until you put it out, we just price it as we put it out.
Yeah.
We can't do that anymore. We're just too busy.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you can go up there at 10 in the morning or 10 at night, and there's a line of people.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. It's especially in the last few days, from the 1st of July through the 4th, it's pretty busy.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But we do get it all priced ahead of time, of course, and put in the trailers. And this week we were organizing, getting everything priced, getting it organized in the trailers, so that when we get busy, you don't have time to be looking for stuff.
Yeah,
you
got a
need
box
to know
of
where
this,
it's at.
pull it out, set it on the table, do whatever you need.
Right,
Yep.
right. And so, and then, of course, today was kind of a down day. Yesterday was a really busy day because I had kids up there all day working on that stuff. And then, and of course, today was supposed to storm. I keep an eye on the weather, obviously, and there's a chance of storm. So I thought I want to get it all done yesterday so we don't have to worry about rain.
Yep.
And anyway, today was kind of a down day. Tomorrow, a little bit of a down day. And then,
you start ramping
that's
up.
it. Yeah. We'll get everything out on the shelves. Friday is the first day we can sell. We'll probably wait till Friday morning to put anything out.
Yeah.
I don't like putting it out there until it's time.
Go time.
But I got the whole gang. Chris has probably already told you. I got the whole gang coming up Friday morning, and we'll be busy all day putting the product out. And we'll be open. Yeah. People could, if they wanted to buy something, could come in and buy something, but we'll be busy. Yeah. And then, it's just a matter of, we try to protect our product. We do everything we can to make sure, those tents aren't waterproof, obviously. Right. So we have figured out over the years, it's been a learning process, but we tarp, every night. We anytime there's chance of storms, we tarp, and we have them fastened to the legs. Yeah. So the tarps are... Nothing's blowing off? No. I've had years where I know of stands that have lost almost everything. We didn't lose anything. Yeah. We were very fortunate, but because well, you get one of those big, blowing thunderstorms that come through that start kicking up and swirling around, and the wind blowing from everywhere, stuff fall over, and then all your product is sitting in the water. We've had for some 70 and 80 mile an hour winds. Yeah. One year we were up there, and of course it was one of the worst storms we ever had. Yeah. And we were sitting in, of course we keep our RV up there, that's our home for a month. And anyway, I look out and I see out the north end, everything blowing out. And I'm thinking, oh no, the table's gone down on that end. Yeah. And fortunately, all it was a trash can blown over, and we had to go pick up trash. Yeah. I mean, it was a mess. Yeah. But we didn't lose anything. Didn't lose any product. Yeah, that'd be scary. Yeah. Have you ever had any issues with security? I mean, that was something I was always concerned about, like worried about somebody might come in at night and try to steal some stuff or whatever. It is a concern. We do some things, and I don't want to reveal everything we do, but if people come in, we're going to know it. Yeah. We're going to know it. Yeah, that's a good plan. Yeah. And we've been very fortunate, we've never had, to my knowledge, we have so little. Of course, one thing we do, I know people worry about people shoplifting and everything.
Yeah.
But one of the things we do is we try to go around with our customers, and I tell the kids, I said, don't, greet them, tell them you're there to help them.
Sure.
And if they have any questions to ask, don't be overbearing, but
pleasantly persistent.
yes, good way to put it. And go around with them and just, whether you're there, if they have any questions. So I'm not saying we haven't lost some things over the years,
Sure.
but when you're there with people, it's hard for them to.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you hire the right folks, and you're doing the right things, and so naturally you got the right things come out of it. Okay, so you do your business for the 20 days, and,
right,
and then ideally you've gone through most of your product or whatever, but I'm sure inevitably you're storing some stuff for a year, and then you put that stuff out. Yeah. Maybe the next year, but it's not old because it's dry.
As long as you keep it dry, it's fine.
Yep.
Yeah. And we don't have a lot left over because I've learned, base my order on what we did the year before.
Yep.
But we'll have some left over, but I always, I have a cargo trailer and, had a box truck. And it's watertight. And,
that's awesome.
And so I just stored it. Where we live, we have an acre there where we live, and so I have some room, and so I just store it there, and
that's perfect.
And and
you're ready for next year.
And then we're on, exactly.
Yep. And then just because I'm a geek, I mean, is it an LLC?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this business really only it exists all the time, but you're really only doing your business and all your taxes and stuff is all going to be in one quarter mainly because you're buying everything about the same time.
Well, except the quarter stops, right in the middle.
Okay, it's 2 quarters.
So it's 2 quarters.
Yeah.
Yes, I pay sales tax twice.
Yeah.
I have to do my June and then I have to do my July.
Yep.
So
Yep.
which is okay. It works out fine.
Well, I say that comes with the territory, but just different business, kind of entrepreneurial in my way of think and whatnot, and I've always just been intrigued by this sort of business, and so thank you for sharing a little bit there.
Yeah.
So what role does the family play? I mean, last year I think I talked to maybe a son or a son-in-law who came up. His job or whatever for a few days was to more or less cook for everybody. He was grilling. He was doing all kinds of stuff, and that was great.
Everybody has their little niche that they take care of. My youngest son, who lives down in Liberty, he's my inventory guy. Them last few days, keeping us filled in on what we got and what we need, and we know exactly what we have in the trailers, and so we can keep tabs on that. My daughter she's a salesperson, so she fits right in. That's her niche. The grandkids are all different, obviously,
sure.
And all have their strengths, but everybody kind of has their roles and what they do. And I know my son has a couple of the grandkids they would rather not visit with people, so they help him with the inventory and getting the product out there.
Sure,
and everything. There's
front stage and backstage, man.
Exactly.
Everybody's got a role.
Exactly.
Too many chiefs and not enough Indians is not a good place.
Right. And exactly. Right. Yeah. But it all works out. And so it's been, like I said, we're still doing it after 30 years.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. How do you promote your shows and fireworks in town? Right? Are you guys doing a show again this year?
We do a show. Mm-hmm. Well, I got to thinking this was, I don't know, probably 20 years ago now. It's close to 20 years ago. Well, I tell you what happened. One of my grandsons, one of the boys that graduated from Liberty here, his birthday is June 24th.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're, for his birthday, he's about 4 or 5 at the time, right? And he turns 23 this next week. So, so almost 20 years ago, we're shooting some fireworks off.
Yeah.
And I got people stopping by and saying, "Hey, what was that you just shot? I want one of those."
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I got to thinking, well, you know, we could put on a little show here, show our stuff off, just like we go see the stuff in May
Absolutely.
and know what to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And so people that like to have a big celebration, they want the best of the best.
Yep.
They can come see the stuff.
Yep.
And I mean, you know, it's, if you don't want to buy anything, that's fine. It's open to everybody.
Yeah.
And we will do that a week from Friday on the 27th.
Okay. So very good.
We will put the show on at about 9 o'clock, about dark.
Yeah.
And like I said, you know, we print out the sheets. It started out the first year. I just told people, well, come up on such and such a night and bring a pencil and paper, and I'll yell out what we're shooting, and that's the way it started. And now we print out the sheets, and I have a bullhorn, and it's become a production.
Well, it's great too, because I mean, like you said, the people who aren't buying, they get a free show out of the deal,
right?
And the people who are buying, you've explained the benefit that they get.
Yes,
but in my, selfish opinion, the town of Lawson gets the community out of it.
Yes.
Right? I mean, there are very few times over the course of a year, but we just had one with the picnic in town, the Lawson, Carnival. We'll do that fall festival.
Yeah.
But when you stop traffic out on the 69 highway,
I know.
And they're taking over all those parking lots, and you got people around there. You see neighbors, you see friends, see people you haven't seen in a while, and it's a community event. It's great.
Well, and they come up and tailgate. We have them show up. We don't start shooting until a little bit after 9.
Yeah,
6 o'clock.
Yeah, they're there.
They got their pickups, and they're and they're grilling, and they're
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah. That is just a wonderful blessing for our community that you guys do that. That's great.
Well, thank you.
So you talk about the way things have changed or whatever, and your business has grown and blossomed. How has the town changed in your 20-some years doing this, 30 years doing this?
I don't know that.
Have you seen?
There's been a lot of change. Okay. I mean, people are pretty down to earth up here, and they're they seem they're just solid.
Yep.
Solid Americans. They work hard. They play hard. They live life the way I think God intended for us to live life.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, I think through maybe kind of how the town was when I got here, and now how it's a little different. When I first, I've been here for 20-some years myself. But,
right.
Through marriage, right? I've only lived here for about, I don't know, when did I move? 2007?
Okay.
07. Yeah. So
okay.
Not quite 20.
Yeah, 18.
Yeah. And, I mean, we didn't have some of the additions to the school at the time. We didn't have whatever. We've had people move in. We've had new additions built in town and everything like that. But this is something I'm really just starting to notice at my age. You talked earlier about kids being in their phones or whatever. Right. I've noticed as each generation kind of comes up, there are things that historically a previous generation did out of tradition that some of the kids do out of traditional reasons or whatever. And then some things just kind of fall by the wayside, right? Some kids aren't doing certain things, whatever. But fireworks seems to be one of those things that have just, everybody loves it. Everybody just keeps doing it. No matter how old you are or young you are. You always like to watch the bottle rocket fly up and go boom.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's been 250 years, I guess, since we've been doing this. So I guess it's probably not going to go away.
Not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. Let's see. Was there ever a point you thought about stepping away from the business?
Well, every year at my age, it gets a little tougher.
Sure.
I'm not getting any younger, but I've always said as long as I felt like I enjoyed it, and the kids wanted to do it, the grandkids and kids, and I would keep doing it as long as I could. So
that's great.
I don't know. Of course, they're talking about putting a roundabout in, and of course that'll take our spot if they do that.
Okay.
So and that maybe my maybe Michael, maybe God's way of saying, "Hey, it's time you took some,"
Yeah.
you know.
Maybe
But
take a break. Maybe
yeah,
pump the brakes on it, but not
yeah.
this year. And
No,
and you're feeling good and everything.
I'm feeling great, much better than I did this time last year.
Yeah.
This time last year, let's see, what's today? The 17th, 18th, 17th.
Today's date?
Yeah,
Is the
17th?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the 15th was the day that I fell, and I was in the hospital
my
that night, and
gosh.
so my birthday's on the 16th.
Yesterday.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So,
well, happy belated birthday.
well, thank you. But anyway, I'm doing much better this year than last year at this time.
Yeah.
When you break your back, I was able to get through it pretty good. But the hardest thing was getting out of bed.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was a killer every day.
Because you got to, does your back roll?
Well,
right? Because once you're up, you're probably okay.
You don't think about it, but you use every muscle in your back to get out of bed.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't think about it. I never thought about it until I broke it.
I'm trying to think about it now, and it just happens so naturally.
Well, you just get up,
Yeah.
And when you've got a broken back, you don't just get up. I tried everything. I tried rolling over on my stomach. Once I got in bed, I could get comfortable and sleep.
Yeah.
And once I got up, I was okay. But getting out of bed was a killer. I mean, in fact, of course, we just stay up there at the RV.
Sure.
Just whatever, 3 or 4 weeks or whatever. And I hadn't been up there since last year, of course, until the other night. And the first thing I thought about when I got up was, wow, I can get up. I mean, it hit me then that, man.
Long way from where I was last year.
This time last year, it was,
Yeah. Well, that's, I think, too, just maybe another compliment for you. You went through that, but to sit there and talk with you, it was as if you weren't moving the same way, but just talking with you, you're just same personality, talking, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Not moving around as fast, but barking orders at kids and telling them to do this or that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had to do more of that last year. They had to do all the grunt work. I couldn't, I couldn't do any of the grunt work.
Yep. Well, that's awesome. And you talk about like being ready for a storm or whatever, and again, I'm just trying to, from a third party perspective, understand how the thing works. So what's a typical day look like?
Well,
what time are you open? Do you worry about closing? Are you getting up and getting things out?
Well, we pretty much are open from 8 to 9. Weekends, obviously, we're there till
you just open.
We're open till everybody's in bed or gone or whatever. Obviously, on the 3rd and 4th and 5th, it will be open late till midnight. I don't get to bed till about 2.
Yeah,
time I finish doing paperwork and everything.
Yep.
But a typical day, the first 2 weeks, or not the first 2 weeks, but the first probably week and a half, get up. I always get up early.
Yeah.
I can, 6:30, I'm up,
Drinking coffee?
No, I'm not a coffee drinker.
That's wrong answer.
I make it for my wife. She drinks it, but I don't. I'm just
no caffeine for you. You run. This is natural. You run hot.
Yeah. I just do. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, I get up. Of course, we tarp every night, so of course I have to have one of the kids there to help.
Yep.
We'll
untarp
and get the things opened up, get the flaps opened up and everything. And then, it's really, you're not really killing yourself the first, 12 or 13 days you're doing it.
Yep.
And then when you get toward the first, it gets, of course, the night of the shoot, that's a busy day, getting ready for the shoot and everything.
Yep.
But really, it's not that hard, that stressful till you get down to the first, and then it's
game time.
And then it's game time, and you're going 90 miles an hour, for 4 days or whatever.
Yep. But you got good help. And
I got great help.
So just 3 questions left, and again, from a perspective of ignorance, what is something that you would want the average person to know about this business, right? What is something that you guys are doing and the way that you're operating and running that would be insightful for somebody who's coming to visit you?
Well, I think a lot of people perceive it as, I've heard a lot of people say this. Oh, that looks, I'm gonna get into that business.
Yeah.
Because all they see is you sitting up there selling fireworks.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of work, as you,
Yep.
as you, and as Chris, your son knows.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work behind the scenes.
Yep.
And
Yep.
a lot of,
Cool and collected on top and paddling like heck underwater.
That's
like a
right.
duck.
So I think there's more to it than just what you see out there is selling fireworks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that would be that's the thing that I think people, and I know I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm going to do that." I said, and I've helped several get started.
I believe you have.
And I tell them going in, this isn't all easy. I mean, there's work involved.
Sure.
That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's not going to be easy.
Right.
And it seems like very few are in it for the long haul because it is.
Yep.
They get into it and find out that there's probably more to it than what they really thought.
Yep. It's easy to look at some successful operation and, like I've said here a few times now, making it look easy, and to assume that you can come in and replicate that success. And it's you can't do it without a good team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I could not do this without the kids that help me and the grandkids and my kids. And yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So in 30 years of doing this, what is the best experience that you've ever had? What's your favorite memory?
Oh, golly. I don't know. I think I don't know that there is. There's so many good ones.
Yeah. More good than bad, sounds like.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just watching my gang.
Watching your grandkids. Yeah. Well, it's a unique thing to watch them grow up, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. When they grad, and even from a fireworks perspective, they grow up, they're doing the snakes or the snaps, and then they go to bunker busters, and then they move to bottle rockets, and then they want to shoot the big stuff off.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think and it's been good for them growing up. You know what I mean? They've learned life lessons.
Sure.
I think all the kids, not just my grandkids, all the kids, it's a good experience.
Sure.
I think.
Well, they get to see business.
Yes.
They get to see business from the ground up,
Yes.
right? You
Yes.
see somebody there early, see somebody there late,
Yes.
walk
Yes.
home tired.
Yes.
You talk about Christopher being there helping on that busy day.
Oh yeah.
His shoulders hurt because he said one of them had to go upstairs to load the trailer with the thing, and he was always kind of down on the ground, and so he'd have to pick these big boxes up, lift them over his head, and then move them forward.
Yes.
So he's tired.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure he was. Thing is, especially when we stack in like that semi, it's tall.
Yeah.
Well, I used to, of course, being 6'5", I could get up but I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And they have to do it. And in fact, I was telling Chris and Michael and some of them up there the other day, I said, man, I'm glad you guys are growing. You just need to keep growing some because, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, the other question is so you got a wonderful, great memories. What's the worst memory that you've had? And you talk about the hard work or whatever. That's not necessarily negative.
Probably the worst night that we ever had at the stand was because of weather.
Really?
We had 3 storms hit in one night. It was in 2011, I believe. And what happened was we had a storm hit from the west, 50, 60, 70 mile an hour winds, and hitting the side of the camper, and it was intense.
Yep.
And then that eased up, and about an hour. This was about, I'm going to say about 1 a.m, and then that eased up, and then about 2 a.m, we had one hit that came from the south.
Oh, another direction.
No, yeah, and just blew like again. 60, 70 mile an hour winds, you know?
Yeah.
And the first one was the most intense, the one out of the west.
Yeah.
I mean, the trailer was rocking.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in there wondering if you're not going to end up on your side. I mean, and then about 5 o'clock in the morning, it came from the north. Of course, temperature dropped 30 degrees.
Oh, sure.
With all this,
big old front moving
and
in.
oh yeah, and then the rest of the time we were up there, it was like Sue fixed chili one night.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't eat chili in the summer.
Yeah.
We don't. But it was that cool. But that night, and what happened is it rocked my fifth wheel so much that it busted all the cross members underneath.
Oh my
the
gosh.
fifth wheel, and so and I didn't know that. I mean, when it's just sitting there,
yeah.
wasn't any big deal. But when we went to leave to go home, of course, we leave it up there year round now.
Right.
But we didn't used to take it home. And anyway, we went to go home, and Sue's following me, and we're going to go down to Watkins Mill and dump the tanks.
Septic.
Yeah. And she's following me, and she calls me and says, "Are you okay?" I go, "Yeah, I'm fine." She says, "That camper's all over the road." So I look out my rearview mirror, and you could literally see the camper swaying. I mean, you could like, if I was looking in the rearview mirror, you could see the wheels, and then you couldn't see the wheels, and then it was moving. I mean, of course, I slowed down to like 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And we get down to dump, and you could just sit there and push on the camper and move it like a foot.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. So now I'm nursing at home. And then I had to rebuild the whole frame underneath.
I was going to say,
yeah. But that was probably the worst night or worst experience over the years.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just sitting here trying to paint the picture. You have your life, kind of potentially in the balance of the storm, right? You've got the
absolutely
the entire operation of, the setup and everything there. You've got all the investment and the products sitting out there.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, you've set the stage, and man, for a storm to come in and blow it up, that would just be
there's
the worst environment imaginable.
Yeah, there's there's some risk. I mean, it's just like any investment. There's risk and there's reward, and we've been very fortunate. We try to minimize our risks. We do everything we can to like to say protect the product, make sure we have good product, because you don't want, you hear about people saying, "Oh, I bought stuff and it didn't work," and we depend on our people to come. They take care of us. Yeah. The people of Lawson take care of us, and we want to do everything we can to take care of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've made that crystal clear. And like I said, I mean, it's fascinating to me to talk with you and learn more about this and everything.
Yeah.
So with that, I guess I'll just say, is there anything that you'd like to share with us before we let everybody go?
No, just hope everybody has a safe and great 4th of July, and we'll be there. We'll and hope the storms, and we hope the storms stay away.
That's great. That's great.
But no, this has been a great experience for us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all you do for our community. Thank you so much for 30 years of awesome fireworks here in town.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to a safe 4th of July ourselves. So
thank you.
All right. This has been the Son of the Law podcast. Have a great day, everybody.